There is always speculation when someone who worked for the former president of the United States turns up dead. And first of all, let us just say that our thoughts and prayers are with this man's family and friends. Tafari Campbell, who rose through the ranks and eventually became Barack Obama's personal chef, died in what officials called a paddleboarding incident in a pond near Obama's home in Martha's Vineyard. But many people think there's some fishy stuff going on, and that this story doesn't really make any sense. Did Barack Obama use his powers to help cover up the death of his personal chef? And why would he do that? Let's get into it. Tafari was a 45-year-old man from Dumfries, Virginia. He was first a sous chef at the White House during the Obama administration. His food and work was so good that he not only impressed Obama, but lots of foreign dignitaries. No surprise to anyone, he got hired on as Obama's personal chef once he left office. Obviously, that must have been a dream job for Tafari, and he'd really made it big when he was able to follow Obama from the Oval Office to his Martha's Vineyard home. But tragedy struck in July when it was reported to the Massachusetts State Police that Tafari had died in a pond not far from Obama's estate. They said it was some sort of a paddleboarding incident. The police used divers to recover his body from the pond. They released this statement. MSP Underwater Recovery Unit divers made the recovery after the victim's body was located by Massachusetts environmental police officers deploying side-scan sonar from a boat. The police said they made the recovery around 100 feet from the shore and that it was about 8 feet down. That's the official story. But there are a lot of people that say that this doesn't look right, and now people are looking for the missing pieces of this tragic puzzle. Everybody knows that Barack Obama was one of the most well-liked presidents in recent years, partially due to his down-to-earth demeanor and charisma.
Parents shared not only an improbable love, they shared an abiding faith in the possibilities of this nation.
And people now think that Obama used his beloved status to help stage this cover-up. This is partially because internet sleuths have found some really creepy coincidences going on between Tafari's death and that of former White House chef Walter Scheib.
To the president's right, of
Oh,
course.
there we go. 11 years, 94 to 05, and that's 7 years of Bill Clinton and 4 years of W. Bush.
Scheib gained renown for his culinary creations when he served under Bill Clinton, and very similarly, he drowned in New Mexico in 2015. He'd recently moved to the region and had been on a hiking trip at the time. The police used his cell phone signal to locate him, and after a week of looking, authorities said they found him in a mountain drainage flowing with surface runoff. It's worth noting that he was around 1.7 miles from the hiking trail's base, which isn't very far. Now there's been a video making the rounds stating that Tafari had been working on an explosive tell-all book about his experiences as a White House chef and personal chef to Obama, and then, poof, turned up dead. This video also claimed that Tafari had some unusual head injuries and that his body was found in shallow water that was only 3 to 4 feet deep. And supposedly a 911 call wasn't placed until his body had made its way to the shore, and allegedly Obama's personal coroner took care of his autopsy. The AP, or Associated Press, has come out and categorically stated that this information is false. And to back that up, the Massachusetts State Police made a statement that said he didn't have any head injuries, and the water he was discovered in was around 8 feet deep. They also said that the state medical examiner handled the autopsy, not Obama's personal coroner, and the AP says there's no substantial evidence to back up the claim that Campbell was writing any sort of book about the Obamas. And when they took a closer look at the social media account that made all of these claims, it became evident that it was well known for spreading misinformation and posting fake news. Someone in the video clip stated, "This is the actual update on the situation. It's no wonder that we tend to suspect conspiracies and everything. It's because falsehoods are being propagated. And thanks to the information that this non-credible Twitter account has spread, a lot of people are looking for hints that conspiracy is afoot." A deep dive on Campbell's Instagram page before it was switched over to private showed no indications that he was gearing up to release a book about the Obamas. The police are actively investigating the situation, although it's been declared an accident, and they say they don't suspect foul play. And interestingly, the Obamas have actually spoke on this issue twice. Both Michelle and Barack made posts that talked about their relationship with Campbell. Barack had this to say, "Tafari Campbell showed us what true character looks like. He believed that actions speak louder than words, and he used his immense gifts to bring people together, provide comfort, and spread joy. I'll miss him every day." And no matter what's going on here, it's quite an accomplishment for a former president to come out and say they'll miss you every day. And the fact that the Obamas speak so highly of him and talk about his generous nature and big heart mirrors what his family and friends said about him. So that indicates they knew him well enough to know what sort of character he had. But there is an interesting phenomenon that reporters and journalists are reporting. When they call the Massachusetts State Police for information about the case, they get standard, scripted responses that cite a public records law that gives police the ability to withhold information about an incident if it could jeopardize the investigation. A law which has no bearing on this case because the police have already supposedly ruled out foul play. But there is one report that hasn't come out yet, the toxicology report. This could reveal if Tafari had drugs, medications, toxins, or anything else in his system, or reveal certain types of medical episodes he could have suffered. The First Amendment Coalition says the police are misusing this law. Justin Silverman, the executive director of the New England First Amendment Coalition, had this to say: "The burden is on law enforcement to show how their investigation may be jeopardized by releasing certain information. And they're not doing that right now. This really flies in the face of public records law. And it's not just the Massachusetts State Police that are doing this. Every police agency in the state is providing a similar response. For instance, it was the Dukes County Sheriff's Office that received the 911 call, and DailyMail.com tried to contact them about information about the call, only to get this response: "Hello, at this time we will not be releasing any recordings or materials." The obviously copy and pasted message went on to cite the same public records law exemption that the rest of the state is using, and that it grants exemptions for anything that would probably so prejudice the possibility of effective law enforcement that such disclosure would not be in the public interest. The exemption allows investigative officials to withhold materials that could compromise investigative efforts if disclosed. A public safety officer and inside source had this to say: "State police send out those templates for us to use too. It's driving me absolutely nuts because it's making it seem like there's something going on when there is not. As far as I know, some poor guy went on a paddleboard and he wasn't a great swimmer and he drowned. I know the optics of this look like it could be a lot more than that. I see what makes this a story. I know this has the recipe for a conspiracy, but from what I have seen, there's no drama to this. If you guys just had everything, you'd see there's really nothing to this and move on. Instead, you're left with what appears like a mystery." Another source complained, "We're supposed to be transparent. This total drama to this, not giving out names, it's kind of horseshit. It's just dragging this out unnecessarily." What we've all pieced together so far is that police are calling Campbell's death an accident. They say he was out on the pond with someone else paddleboarding. He went in, struggled to stay afloat for a couple of minutes, then went under the water. The other paddleboarder attempted to save him. The other paddleboarder went and got help from someone else, and that someone else called 911. And we've learned from DailyMail.com that the second paddleboarder was an unknown woman. No one is giving out information about the 911 caller, but people speculate that it was a member of Obama's Secret Service team. Also, a Secret Service member identified his body. It's noted that Barack and Michelle weren't home when this happened. There's been nothing said about whether Sasha or Malia, their daughters, were home or not either. Even more interesting is the way that Martha's Vineyard police logged that call, or rather, didn't. They logged an official reason for every 911 call that came through that night, except for that one. Another thing that's a little fishy is that Tafari knew how to swim. Watch for yourself. He even captioned one of these videos "survival skills," which is really eerie to think about in the wake of the circumstances surrounding his death.
A lot of different media outlets said the fact that he didn't know how to swim. Matter of fact, there was a post of Instagram of him hashtag still don't know how to swim or something like that. I don't know if you saw that or not, where he didn't know how to swim. And then a video appeared. It was him on Twitter.
He knows how to swim, Pat.
So this is him swimming. That's pretty solid to swim like that. That's backstroke that he's doing there.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain how he died in such shallow water after seeing those videos. It's still possible that maybe he hit his head on something on his way down. Another thing that people are questioning is why the witness to this event, the other paddleboarder, is being kept secret. With them being kept a mystery, there's a lot of information that we simply just don't know. One user made the remark, "Could you imagine if it was Trump, chef? It would be non-stop accusations." So, what do you think? Is Obama participating in a cover-up? Why would the police work so hard to keep information quiet? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.